Fifth year with Shen Sinian. I thought we were finally done since I was his first girlfriend for over 3 years. He once said that he would marry any woman who stayed with him for more than 3 years. So I prepared that wedding dress for a long time. That day was his birthday party. We were delayed for a while down there due to parking issues, but when we came back up, they were all here. The atmosphere in the box was harmonious and lively. You mean Wensi? It was Shin Sinian's voice, and a gap was exposed in the unclosed door. This is? He lit a cigarette. The room was dark. Only the delicate lower half of his face was exposed, and he said casually, I'm tired of it already. My outstretched hand paused. Some people who are watching the excitement don't think it's a big deal. Who says it's not? It's been 5 years this year. Isn't it already more than 3 years? I can't stand when she may. Slender waist, big breasts, such a bright face, and knowing both cold and hot. What man wouldn't like her? Speaking of which, Xin Yan, you liked her so much at the beginning and made the city a storm, but now you are tired of talking about it. Shin Sinian suddenly leaned forward and slowly blew out a smoke ring. It's been 5 years. Aren't you tired of changing me? I'm not tired of it. Shin Sinian's narrow phoenix eyes were slightly raised, his thin lips were raised, and he bit the words and said, Follow me, as long as you can catch up. Damn, if you play with me like this, who doesn't know that when she loves you to death? Everyone just thought he was joking and burst into laughter. But I stood outside the box and slowly withdrew my hand. When he asked me later, I told him that the car was broken down, but he didn't ask any more questions. The decision to break up was probably made at that moment. 2. Within a few days, rumors began to spread in the circle. Shin Sinian found a new female companion. She was 18 years old, innocent, romantic, charming, and cute. He was always generous with money when chasing people, and he would smash cars and jewelry at will. Within 2 days, the girl fell into trouble. At a friend's bachelor's party at the end of the month, Shin Sinian actually brought someone. As soon as they arrived, everyone fell silent, looking at each other, and their eyes glanced at me from time to time. I poured out the newly mixed wine and smiled slightly. Look what I do. Shin Sinian took someone and sat across from me, looking at me seriously. When let's break up. Although it was expected, it was not so fast. Me? Okay. Maybe he didn't expect me to agree so happily. Shin Sinian's eyes were a little surprised. He couldn't help but look at me. We are still friends after we break up. If something happens in the future, Forget it. I continued to smile. It's easier to get together, and it also saves others from misunderstandings. When he said the last 2 words, the girl in his arms looked at me with a pair of black and white eyes. She pursed her red lips, timidly, like a baby bird. Shin Sinian's sharp phoenix eyes narrowed, and his thin lips curved into a slight sarcastic smile. You are still thoughtful. My fingers were stained with sticky wine, and I wanted to swallow them in disgust. I'm feeling a little unwell. You guys gather together while I leave first. Should I have someone send you off? No need. The following are all substitute drivers. I walked out of the box calmly. The disgusting smell dissipated, and there was an explosion inside. Do you really want to break up? It's fake. How could Wensi agree? Retreat to advance. I think she's quite calm. She won't be really sad. How is that possible? Only Wensi can't bear to see Xin Yan. I also think Wensi loves Xin Yan to death. So, within 2 days, when she will definitely bow his head and admit his mistake. Shin Sinian looked at the figure that was running away, smiled coldly and indifferently, and said casually, She thinks if she comes back, will I still want her? I breathed heavily in my chest, clenched my hands, and left. 3. When I got home, I went to the closet and looked at the wedding dress that I had treasured for a long time. After all, it was my extravagant hope. I laughed at myself and suddenly started tearing it apart. It wasn't until her gauze skirt was torn into a mess and her palms were covered with red marks that she sat on the ground blankly. When I finally left, I took one last look at the house I had lived in for 2 years. I thought this would be our love nest, but in the end I made the wrong payment. Everything here was bought by Shin Sinian. After all, I naively thought that what was his was mine. I booked a flight in the early morning to fly to Shenzhou. There is no reason, mainly because there are flights at this point. 4. Going out to relax must be of the highest standard. I had nothing to do in the evening, so I changed into a newly purchased tube top and slim-fitting long dress. The red dress wraps up her graceful and soft figure, exposing a large area of snow-white skin on her chest. Her waist-length hair was permed into big waves, hanging down on her lower back. The flaming red lips are bright and moving, like delicate roses in full bloom. Miss, can I buy you a drink? A decent-looking elite man came over. I raised my eyes and stared at him, nodded my chin dignifiedly, and smiled brightly. Of course. The man was ecstatic and amazed, and he leaned over and sat down next to me. We drank wine and talked freely. While he was feeling happy, one shoulder was suddenly held by a big hand. The palm is broad and dry, and the tender skin seems to be able to feel the roughness inside. Wensi. I looked up and saw a somewhat unfamiliar but very handsome face. He has thick eyebrows and deep eyes, chiseled features, and wears a sophisticated suit. The moment I looked up, he seemed to confirm it immediately. He tightened his palms and clasped my shoulders with his 5 fingers, saying very cordially, Old classmate, long time no see. No, who are you? Before I could react, the elite man next to me had already been dismissed by him. Looking at the man sitting next to me, who couldn't be ignored, I opened my mouth. Fuyun. The other party introduced himself. I chose to close my mouth and sneer. Long time no see. The famous figure in the neighboring courtyard used to be a double hero with Shen Xinian. I'll go look for Shen Xinian in college and we can still meet him. It's just that I didn't expect that he could still remember me. 5. Why are you here alone? I took a sip of the wine the man ordered for me. That wine is called pomegranate skirt. The sweet and sour taste was pretty good, but when I took my second sip, the glass was taken away. This wine is strong, he explained and ordered a drink from the bartender. I looked at my empty palms and saw that my newly made nails were so bright and shockingly red. There's no way wine isn't strong. Adult men and women can't do that. I haven't seen 10 of the aggressive looks from that person just now in these years, but I've seen 7 or 8. Come out and play, I said, holding my face in one hand. Not with Shen Xinian? You see, which pot is not opened and which pot is lifted. We're divided. I pushed away the long hair hanging on my chest and looked at him with a smile. I don't know if my smile was too ugly, but Fuyun frowned briefly. Feel sorry. I smiled nonchalantly. It's okay. 6. The consequence of drinking too much is that you feel dizzy when you stand up. Hey, if Fuyun hadn't held one of my arms, I might have fainted. Entering the elevator, I didn't know where the smell came from. It was unpleasant. The agarwood on Fuyun smelled really good, so I took a few more puffs to avoid vomiting. When I arrived at the door of the room, my whole body began to feel hot and uncomfortable. Go in. Fuyun was very gentlemanly, dignified, and upright. I was about to say thank you, but for some reason the words came out. Would you like to come in and sit for a while? I suddenly wanted to indulge and vent in my heart. At that moment, Fuyun's eyes were very deep and heavy, and the black eyes seemed to be swallowing people up. He opened the door for me. You're drunk. Looking at the dark room, I tilted my head and rested it on his shoulder, my long hair caressing the back of his hand. Can't you? I looked at him with blurred eyes. Ugh. He was showered with kisses. My already dizzy head became even dizzy, and I couldn't keep up with his rhythm for a while. 7. By the time I was pushed onto the bed, my skirt was already in a mess. It's not too late to regret now. My head became even more dizzy, and I looked at him with misty eyes. Then take your hand off my chest first. Fuyun suddenly laughed. He leaned forward and kissed my lips. No! I couldn't help but roll my eyes. I just didn't expect that this Fuyun looked tall and mighty, unstoppable, and the first time only lasted 3 minutes. I was sober now, and my eyeliner made my eyes look extremely enchanting. I wanted to say something to comfort him. But before he could open his mouth, Fuyun pressed forward again angrily. Wuh! 3 minutes, let me go. It was just a mistake. 3 minutes turned into 3 hours. No more, no more. I kept begging for mercy. My waist was going to break if I continued. I'm here to hunt for beauty, not to die. The white and slender fingers finally stretched out, but were suddenly grabbed back. After fooling around with Fuyun for a few days without shame, I found that he was quite boring. For example, when I went out to eat at night, the waiter in the restaurant was a young and cheerful man. That little figure and that little smile are so cute and adorable. I'm a soft-spoken person, but not a tough person. If people greet me with a smile, I will naturally reciprocate the favor. Fuyun still had work, so I didn't bother him even if I had a look at him, so I just looked at the waiter a few more times. As a result, as soon as I returned to the hotel, before I even got out of the elevator, I was kissed so hard that I couldn't breathe. After I returned to the room, it was even more extreme. It made me want to hit someone. 8. After the passion, I lay lazily on the bed, looking at my phone. After not seeing me for a few days, my friends probably wanted to comfort me. When will you come back? Not yet. We all miss you very much. Cece and Liangzi are celebrating the first anniversary of their relationship. Please come back soon. No, I have something else to do. Please send me your blessings when the time comes. Okay then, stay safe and have fun. In the box, the friends looked at each other. It's better to speak out if you have a better relationship with Shen Xinian. Xinian, why don't you give Wenxi a call? She promises to listen to you. Yeah. As long as Xinian calls, Wenxi will definitely come back. Shen Xinian put out a cigarette. His face was extremely ugly, and he said with a cold face, You can never take love back. Others couldn't help but persuade. Xinian, don't be angry. Wenxi is too sad. Yeah, you didn't even tell us your itinerary this time. I guess you're feeling sad. It's not the little girlfriend who's causing trouble. Just look for her. Why did you bring her here? Oh, keep your voice down. We'll all be divided. Humph, I've done everything and still don't make people angry. Snap. The wine glass was suddenly thrown to the ground and shattered into pieces. Shen Xinian became angry. No one is allowed to go to her, and no one is allowed to contact her again. His face was ashen, his thin lips were pale, and his fists were pressed in front of him. Xinian, do you have stomach trouble again? It's better to go to the hospital first. Shen Xinian went abroad in his early years and had irregular eating habits, which led to him suffering from stomach problems. When she felt sorry for him and took care of him very carefully, There had been a lot of socializing recently, so he didn't pay attention and fell ill again. The cool night breeze blew, and the cold sweat on my back clung to my shirt. He just felt that his anger was hard to dissipate. This woman Wency was so smart that she just left without even saying hello. After following him for so many years, I can never change my willful temper. This time, he must make her suffer. 9. What are you looking at? A warm body covered his back. I took a big breath and pushed him with my shoulders. It's too heavy. You're going to crush me. Is this person unaware of his weight? But Fuyan got closer. He took off my mobile phone and put it on the bedside table. He lowered his head and kissed my left shoulder and drew circles on my left shoulder with one hand, with a faint downward trend. I squeezed his fingers and begged, no more, no more. But this man was being naughty and kissed his way along the neck with a warning. What? Are you going back to Vice City? I shook my head hastily, my head full of black hair. No, no, no. How dare I? If I want to go back, I need your boss's approval. But flattery showed no pity. Fuyuan leaned over and came in. Before I was ready, my slender neck was raised in excitement. A few heavy blows broke my defense instantly. Hey, woo-woo. Do you understand how to cherish the fragrance and cherish the jade? The body was heaving and sinking, the night was still deep, and the lights in the room were on until late. I was so tired that I had no strength at all, so Fuyuan carried me to take a shower. Vaguely, I seemed to hear him say, do you want to stay in Shenshire? 10. Where to eat tonight? When Fuyan called, I was finalizing the details with the client. I am an art student. I've been drawing since elementary school. Later I got into illustration and gradually started to draw vertical paintings for many game companies. Talent and hard work have allowed me to achieve financial freedom. Anything is fine. I closed the chat window and looked up at the sunset. I haven't felt so comfortable for a long time, and my restless heart has gradually been soothed. Fuyan's voice was cheerful. I guess he was in a good mood and had time to joke with me. We don't have this dish. I laughed softly and suddenly saw the big sign across the street. Then let's have hot pot. It seems like I haven't eaten for a long time. Shinsen had a bad stomach and could not eat anything heavy in oil or salt. As time went by, I not only stopped eating, but also learned how to cook well, which made it easier to take care of him. Okay, I'll pick you up in a moment. Yeah, I responded. Looking at the red hot pot illustration, I could already imagine the deliciousness. When we arrived at the store, there were already many customers, and the only available seats were in the lobby. Fuyuan looked at the clerk and frowned. I suppressed my laughter and teased him in a low voice. Young master, please be accommodating. But as soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly put his arm around my shoulders, and behind him, I saw a clerk carrying a red oil pan hurriedly coming. Don't you like silence? Quiet? Me? You need to be quiet when working, but you don't need it at ordinary times. Where did he hear this? The two of them sat opposite each other. This store was antique and antique. Because it was a public store, the hygiene was not particularly good. Fuyan is a fastidious person, wiping tables and washing dishes. After taking the drink he handed me, I couldn't help but say, which girl will be lucky to marry you? Handsome and rich, he is also considerate and virtuous, and he has no airs. Unlike Shun Sinian, who is coquettish, angry, and has a bad temper, just like his little ancestor. It's just that I was obsessed with the authorities at that time and never saw it clearly. Thinking about it now, I suddenly feel that I deserve it. If you don't love yourself, how can others love you? 11. Fuyan Xianhui began to cook the dishes. A smile flashed to her eyes. Then I will thank you on her behalf. You're welcome. While biting into the garlic pork ribs, I suddenly remembered something. Did you break up with your college girlfriend? Don't blame me for thinking this way. If I have a girlfriend and I still come out to look for her, I'll have to put her in a pig cage. Fuyan put the cooked tripe into my bowl, looking a bit like asking questions. Have you ever heard that I have a girlfriend? I spat out my bones. Isn't he the one who has always been by your side? It was Shun Sinian who told her that they were childhood sweethearts, which seemed to mean something like that. Fuyan stared at me for a while. Have you followed me before? Doesn't it seem like the point? Without waiting for me to refute, he explained, I'm young and don't feel it. The key is that people are getting married. Oh, I bit the crispy hairy belly and made a big mistake. After chewing the tripe, Fuyan gave me some 1,000-layer slices. I hadn't eaten them for a long time, and it was a bit spicy, so I took a sip of juice. Did you talk about it later? Fuyan wore a dark shirt today, with his cuffs rolled up, revealing his strong forearms. His hands are very beautiful, with clear joints and strong strength. Now this hand is helping me boil shrimps. I've seen a few, but it's not suitable. He said it in an understatement, and I heard it in a messy tone. Then there's nothing behind it. Yeah, he responded. I've been to the 1,000 layers, and my brain flashed. 3 minutes. Cough. His breathing became rapid, and he was choked. Fuyan hurriedly came over to pat me on the back and opened mineral water for me to drink. After a lot of work, I swallowed hard and was shocked to discover a fact. I really don't know what kind of expression I should use to say, I am your first woman? Fuyan's expression was relatively calm, but his ears were completely red. Yeah, he responded, as if he had thought of something and said to me, I won't do it anymore. What can't be done? After dinner, we took a walk and returned to the hotel hand in hand. Fuyun's wild side was exposed, and I was really fucked to death by him. Yeah, am I great? Damn, how did he know my nickname? When he didn't get an answer, Fuyun moved even more aggressively, looking for my sensitive spots. From the bathroom to the windowsill, then to the living room, and finally back to the bedroom. I really feel tired even breathing. Finally, Fuyun whispered in his ear, so you have to be responsible for me. 12. Cici and Liangzi celebrated their first anniversary. I bought a gift and sent it back. Fortunately for Liangzi, he is Shun Xinyan's good brother, and he doesn't have much contact with him to avoid suspicion. It was his partner, Cici, who kept pestering me and asking questions. Give it away, give it away, give it away, and save your worries. Fuyun picked the gift mainly because I like brightly colored things, which don't match most people's preferences. Fuyun's choice was quite satisfactory. A pair of gold concentric buckles, exquisite workmanship, impressive wealth, and in line with his temperament. Cici opened the gift and immediately gave it to Liangzi. Liangzi took the concentric buckle and looked at it, smiling dryly. It's good. Shun Xinyan was smoking alone. He had a strong aura, and no one dared to offend him. Seeing that he didn't speak, everyone thought he was about to pass. Unexpectedly, he started drinking heavily, one cup after another. Everyone was frightened and tried to persuade them to stop. What's going on? Even if you're happy, you can't drink like this. The host Liangzi also advised, you have a bad stomach, so you can't drink like this. If Wenxi comes back, you will feel bad again. Yes, Wenxi has always cared about you. If you drink like this, she should be sad. Shun Xinyan sneered. Are you distressed? Do you care? This was the first time for everyone to see him like this. Upon closer inspection, his hand holding the cigarette was shaking. Liangzi saw that he was very angry and was afraid that something would really happen, so she secretly called Wenxi. After the beep, he specifically turned on the speakerphone. Hey, Ryoko. Wenxi's voice is very recognizable, clean and cold with a little grace. Wenxi, Liangzi said while looking at Shun Xinyan. When he saw him looking over, he thought there was a way. When will you come back? Don't forget to miss you too much. Me. The other person seemed to smile a little, sounding in a good mood. I won't be back for a while. I have to go collecting photos for my new job. I want to walk more. Liangzi thought to herself, why are you leaving? Your man has been going crazy all day long. You're not here. Xinyan is also busy with work. He has a lot of social activities and drinks. He has a bad stomach and was admitted to the hospital a while ago. Liangzi chatted for a long time, but there was no reply from the other side. For a moment, she almost thought that the person was gone. Wenxi, are you listening? Otherwise, you should come back. You can work at any time. Xinyan's health is the most important thing. When you were here before, there were so many things. Ryoko. Wenxi suddenly interrupted him. Here, tell me, have you figured it out? I know that if you love Xinyan so much, you will definitely not be able to let it go. How can a couple not quarrel? It is normal to break up and get back together. Liangzi couldn't wait to say all the things that were in her heart. But the person on the phone said, you don't need to tell me about him in the future. Besides, nothing is more important than work, let alone being a man. Wenxi. Liangzi's brain was confused. She was so determined. By the way, I wish you and Cici a long life together. Finally, the phone was hung up and the room was eerily quiet. Shun Xinyan smiled sinisterly and put out the cigarette in his hand. Wenxi, you are very kind. He just took his coat and slammed the door and left. Seeing him leaving, everyone began to whisper. Wenxi really wants to break up. No way, I loved you so deeply back then. What's the use of being deep? It's not being let down. 5 years, how many 5 years do people have? It doesn't matter if we break up. You can't hurt me unscrupulously just because I care about you. 13. After hanging up the phone, Fuyun posted. A big head rubbed against my neck. What for? Will you go back? Back to where? Kashiwa City. Not yet. Fuyun started to kiss me, a little urgently. She turned sideways and said, don't make trouble. But this person came after me. After some fuss, I lay lazily in his arms. I was about to close my eyes and prepare to sleep when someone shook me awake. Will you get back together with Shun Xinyan? I opened my eyes. No. Fuyun started to kiss my face. I believe you. I rested my head on his chest and said, Fuyun, I also have self-esteem. I also have a face and skin. Fuyun squeezed my shoulder and suddenly said, then are you willing to be with me? My whole body froze. Fuyun, You don't want to talk about feelings? I just can't believe it for the moment. 5 years of sincere dedication have made me lose my armor. Then I'll wait for the day you are willing. My heart felt sour. Fuyun, you don't have to. He blocked my mouth. Do you still have him in your heart? I shook my head. I thought I was in love so much that I couldn't help myself, but from the day I decided to leave him, my sadness was not as deep as I thought. Maybe our ending was already doomed. Moon. I'm different from him, but I'm afraid I'll let you down. You could have been free. Why did you have to choose me? Because you are unique. He kissed the tears from the corners of my eyes. Yeah, I will always wait for you. But I'm not worthy of your affection. 14. From that day on, I began to avoid Fuyan. I changed hotels and started painting day and night, hoping to numb myself. When the work was over, I began to feel empty and lonely. Walking alone in the bustling streets of Shunshur, this place should be unfamiliar, but because of this person, I suddenly feel friendly. In the bar, the music was deafening. Beauty, let's go together. I didn't wear any makeup today, and just wore simple casual clothes. Sorry, I wanted to be alone. I drank a large glass of wine, hoping that the alcohol would numb my nerves and I could sleep well tonight. But his hand on my shoulder suddenly flashed through my mind. I can feel that kind of temperature now. He was like a fire, burning me hot. Fuyan! Fuyan! How long have they been together? Why does this person keep appearing in my mind? One more drink. Never stop drunk. But before the wine was in my mouth, someone came to me uninvited. After not seeing him for a few days, he seemed haggard and had not shaved off his beard, but it still did not affect his handsomeness. This wine is strong. But I want a drink. In front of him, I finished the drink. To be honest, the end of trying to be brave is that you feel a bit weak. My head began to feel dizzy, and my limbs began to feel weak. A force pulled me into a warm embrace, and there was a soft touch on my forehead. The man sighed. Drink, I am here. Later, my consciousness began to blur. When I woke up, the light was bright, and I fell asleep completely. Morning. Fuyan hugged me into his arms. What would you like to eat in the morning? My chaotic heart calmed down at this moment. I can't deny myself or others just because I meet a bad person. Not everyone is Shun Sinian. I held his shoulder and whispered in his ear, Would you like to come in and sit for a while? Fuyuan's figure was shaken, and his dark eyes were deep and tight. Good. I leaned in to kiss him and wrapped my hands around his waist. 15. The light in the living room was turned on, and the torn wedding dress was intact in the living room. Shun Sinian picked up a corner of the wedding dress. He had known for a long time that when she wanted to get married. He once joked, If I've been in love for more than 3 years, I will marry her. But now, they have been together for 5 years. This wedding dress was from the year before last. I guess she started preparing it very early. He didn't want to separate from her, but he was a little tired and wanted to find some freshness. But when I really left her, I couldn't bring myself to do anything, and I always thought of her in my heart. Some people don't feel you when they are around you. Only when they leave do you realize how precious they are. The familiar pain struck again. Recently, he couldn't help but wonder if he wouldn't be in pain if she were here. Xin Yan, cover it with a hot water bottle. Xin Yan, you have a bad stomach. Stop drinking? Xin Yan, I've prepared food. Come back and eat it in the evening. I asked Xiaoli to bring you hangover soup. Remember to drink it. Xin Yan, I love you. Xin Yan, please marry me. The silent phone suddenly rang. Xin Yan. The inexplicably nervous heart is beating crazily. Is it when she? No, it was Ryoko. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Snayan. Ryoko. He pinched the bridge of his nose tiredly. There is something I decided to tell you after thinking about it. What's up? Promise me. Don't be angry or anxious after hearing this. It's not certain yet. What's going on? The spasm in his stomach made it painful for him to breathe. As for when she, you must stay calm. In fact, I think someone is also spreading rumors. Ryoko. Liangzi also gritted his teeth. What is this? Why did it develop like this? Aren't everything fine? Wenxi had no choice but to go to Shunshur. If you go to Shunshur, go to Shunshur. Why are you getting involved with Fuyan again? He was the person Shin Sinian had the most trouble dealing with since college. In the past, when I was in school, I competed for grades and graduated from a competitive program. As long as it's Shin Sinian's project, Fuyan is bound to step in. Just a while ago, they were competing for a project together, and their relationship was extremely tense. I said, just someone saw Wenxi in Shin City. Shin Sinian's fist on his stomach suddenly loosened, and something flashed past him so fast that he couldn't catch anything. What happened to her in Shin City? Liangzi heard that his voice was quite calm, so she closed her eyes and spoke in one breath. When she seems to be with Fuyan. I think, maybe just eating. We were all classmates before, it won't be a big deal. Now these news are just based on rumors and rumors. I have nothing else to do. I'll hang up first. The phone was hung up, and the quiet room was filled with beeping sounds. Shin Sinian looked at the wedding dress in front of him and traced its lines bit by bit. Tear. The wedding dress was torn apart from bottom to top. A sarcastic, cold smile appeared on his face. 16. After when she left, Shin Sinian once sent her a message. It was after socializing that the driver sent him here. Looking at the cold room, he felt like his breathing was heavy. It's just that the news fell into the sea, and there is no news. He stubbornly thought that she was still angry, and he was also angry about why she was still angry. After 5 years together, doesn't she still understand him? Doesn't she know that she is actually a sharp-tongued person? He is a man in power. Couldn't she accommodate him and go down the steps? Why do you have to make everyone look so ugly? Let him turn around and leave coolly after he can't live without her. Doesn't she have any heart? Being drunk, he dialed her phone. Normally, she would be asleep at this point, but he couldn't. The phone rang for a while, and he waited patiently. After a long wait, what was he trying to say to her? Wensi, I miss you. Wensi, don't leave. But the moment the call was connected, the resentment in my heart burst out first. Wenshi, how long are you going to make trouble? Everyone is watching our joke. But before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by a man's chuckle. That laugh made him feel cold all over. He looked at the direction of the hands on the watch, his eyes full of evil. Mr. Shen, if we don't contact you for 1 day, we will break up. You don't know. Shen Sinian lowered his eyebrows as if a blizzard was coming and gritted his teeth. Let Wenshi answer the phone. Fuyuan, you fucking take advantage of others' danger if you dare. I can't take it. Fuyan was so unsatisfied that he returned the kiss and said, a moment of spring is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Mr. Shen, you should understand. This was his treasure, and although it was immoral, he had no regrets. People who don't cherish it don't deserve good things. 17. After we broke up, I thought about what it would be like to meet Shen Sinian again. He grew up in a wealthy family and was arrogant, but he also had his capital. He was the one who brought up our breakup, although forget it, it's all over. What's the point of talking about who was right and who was wrong? As I get closer to Fuyuan, I like the city more and more. In the evening, he took me to a music restaurant for dinner. I signed a new big order today. I am so happy that I can't stop chatting about it. Fuyuan listened very carefully and even pulled the hair from my ear. Happiness seems really within reach. Just the next second, I saw Shen Sinian in such a mess. He seemed to have not rested for a long time. His body was thin and his face was pale. He, who had always paid attention to his appearance, was actually wearing a wrinkled shirt, his brows were deeply furrowed, and his eyes were blood red. I stopped and looked at him blankly. Time seemed to stretch out in this moment, from the surprise of the first sight, to the joy after confirmation, to the emotional wear and tear. Moon. He called my nickname gently for a long time, so long that I felt a little strange. I'll pick you up. Sinian, can you come pick me up? Sinian, come and pick me up. Sinian, I miss you, can you come? Shen Sinian walked step by step, determined, as if he wanted to marry me. Yeah, we will get married when we get back. I have already repaired the wedding dress. We will be good in the future. I will definitely listen to you. What he said was so serious, so real, and so touching, but I didn't seem to feel it at all. The slightly cold hand on my side was held tightly, giving me strength little by little. 18. Shen Sinian, we have broken up. You go. Yeah. Shen Sinian tried his best to defend himself. I haven't touched anyone except you. I'm just you. I'm only you. He was just a little unwilling. Life was so long, and he was unwilling to see the scenery just once. He just made a mistake once. Why should he be sentenced to death? This isn't fair. I have already ordered the diamond ring and found the hotel. As long as you nod, it will all be true. His voice became more and more urgent, and his voice was trembling. The huge diamond ring was placed in a delicate and beautiful box. Under the dim light, the diamonds shone dazzlingly and brilliantly. He was full of anticipation and hope, hoping to find the girl he fell in love with at first sight. The fantasy I once had day and night has become a reality, but I am not happy at all. Because I really want to let him go. Sorry, Shen Sinian, I can't marry you. I already have new feelings. I raised the hands that Fuyan and I were holding tightly together. Shen Sinian's face seemed to get paler. His eyes moved little by little and finally landed on that bright and charming smiling face. Once upon a time, this was his. Yeah, are you serious? I took a deep breath and covered the clasped hands with my other hand. No matter what the future holds, I have no regrets now. Yes, I'm serious. Shen Sinian suddenly laughed in a low voice, and the smile in his eyes could no longer be concealed. How serious do you think he is about you? How sincere do you think he is to you? Ever since he was in college, he started to compete with me and compare himself to me in everything. Now, he is pursuing you again do you think he has no selfish motives at all? You are still so naive. We have been together day and night for 5 years. Does he really not care or mind at all? I just make the same mistakes as any man, but I really love you. But what about him? Can you guarantee that he'll be devoted to you and will never betray you? Aren't you afraid of making the same mistake again, with the same result? 19. After autumn, the weather in Shenshur gets cooler later, but the wind blows and makes me feel chilly all over. Before today, I comforted myself that I hadn't met my beloved and that relationship was failing, but I had taken it seriously. But now, everything is so ridiculous. I exchanged 5 precious years for shirk and irresponsibility. I used to think that he was excellent and good in everything, and I also felt that I was lucky to meet him. But now, those filters attached because of love are broken, and I can see the real him. The haze that had lingered in my heart for a long time finally dissipated, and the invisible shackles completely disappeared under the sunlight. I should have been happy, but my eyes were red. I was happy that I could see this person clearly, and I also felt sorry for those years that I had spent sincerely and wrongly. Moon. Fuyon took me into his arms and said, "Be good, it's okay." I buried myself in his generous and warm embrace. Fuyon, let's try it seriously. Okay. Fuyuan pinched my waist and pretended to be angry. So, after all these days, have I been paid for nothing? Fu Yuan placed a solemn kiss on the top of my hair. Yeah, Fu Yuan, do things with a clear conscience. As long as you are willing to believe, I will never let you regret it. Regret? I don't want to be guaranteed that relationships are managed by both parties. If it really comes to a day when we can't go on, it's because they don't have a deep relationship. The unobtrusive intimacy and hug completely angered Shin Sinian. He had done enough to save face and save the relationship, but the result was the opposite. Shin Yuan, you've been trying to poach me since college, and now you finally sleep with the woman who's been with me for 5 years. How is it? Does it feel good? When in order to get revenge on me, you are looking for my competitor. If you don't respond, I will. Fu Yuan, my subordinates were defeated, so what if I wrote a love letter? I didn't win. When you couldn't wait to find a man right after we broke up. I never realized why you're so mean. 20. Shin Yuan punched Shin Sinian's mocking face hard. But Shin Sinian was also angry and fought hard. The two of them went back and forth, and their bodies quickly became colorful. The crowd of onlookers and the security guards finally separated everyone. I hugged Fu Yuan distressfully and said, okay. Yeah. Fu Yuan's eyes were still full of fighting spirit, and he glared at the playful and smiling Shin Sinian opposite. Shin Sinian got hit a lot on the face, but he smiled and even licked the blood on the back of his hand provocatively. I was extremely worried, my voice was crying, and my whole body was shaking. Let's go, really, I'm scared. I don't want to see this person again in this life. My cry made Fu Yuan's frown loosen a little. He put his long arms around my back and kissed my ear. Good. Shin Sinian's proud face instantly darkened, and he also knew that he would never have a chance again. During the 5-year relationship, he always thought that he was in a high position and could dominate everything. But one day, he discovered that she would never come back. He panicked, and he began to regret it, but it seemed that he had used the wrong method again. He messed everything up. The setting sun stretched the figure's figure very long, and the graceful figure just disappeared into the distance, and then completely disappeared from his world. 21. We agreed to have dinner together, but something unexpected happened like this. I drove to the hospital, and was simply bandaged. Fu Yuan kept hugging me. I knew he was feeling uneasy, so I held his hand. Moon. We will never break up. I stood up on tiptoes and kissed the side of his face. Let your actions speak for you. Fu Yuan didn't know where he was thinking, his eyes darkened, and the hand holding my waist became restless. I heard you wrote me a love letter. But I only received 1 copy. I turned around to look at him, my eyes widening. Did you write it? Fu Yuan didn't seem to want to admit it, but nodded anyway. I feel a little sorry for him. I always thought it was written by Shin Sinian. Pinch his muscles. Why did you frown when you first saw me? I thought he didn't like me. Am I wrinkled? Yes. I am very sure. But Fu Yuan didn't want to say it, but I pestered him to insist. He leaned over and kissed me. Put on your underwear on your skirt. Why didn't you say it then? I can't imagine myself wearing a beautiful skirt and showing off my butt in the market. My God. My earth. My face. It's okay. Fu Yuan started to untie my clothes. I'll help you take them off. After a super deep kiss, he murmured. No one saw it but me. We rolled together. The future is long, and so is our story.